Welcome to part 4 in the countdown of the 25 greatest sports games in history, where we start with number 10.
Midway presents
NFL Blitz.
2000.
Originally released in the arcades in 1997, NFL Blitz reached the hearts of millions with its fast-paced, arcade-style gameplay. Developer Midway followed in the footsteps of its extraordinarily popular NBA Jam franchise and delivered fans the first entry in what would become the best arcade football series of all time. NFL Blitz featured 7-on-7 football with, shall we say, a severe disregard for NFL rules. Showboating and excessive celebrations were commonplace. Pass interference, along with late hits, were not only permitted, but encouraged. Although this debauchery-laden football became a staple of the Blitz series, its raucousness was restricted by the NFL before its release. Upon watching a preview screening headed by lead artist Sal DeVita and lead designer Mark Turmel, league representatives threatened to revoke the NFL license, citing excessive graphic violence. Of course, Midway compromised and curbed said gratuitous violence. So, with the NFL license in hand and the gameplay largely intact, NFL Blitz released to critical success. So much success that the game was ported to home consoles and eventually spawned numerous sequels across multiple platforms. However, in 2005, Midway lost the NFL license, and while the series would relaunch with fictional players and teams, its success basked in comparison to its early golden years.
He could go all the touchdown!
Number 9.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
NCAA Football 07 for the PS2 and Xbox.
NCAA Football 07.
NCAA 07 marked a rocky transition between Generation 6 and Generation 7 platforms for college football games.
And with me as always, Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Corso.
While the new hardware of the PS3 and Xbox 360 yielded greater graphical fidelity, it was the PS2 and Xbox versions that possessed deeper game modes and the more authentic gameplay. The PS2/Xbox editions featured a Campus Legend mode that chronicled your player's journey from a lowly recruit to a glorified Heisman winner, a mode that was inexplicably absent from next-gen systems.
Your coach has set for you, how many formation bonuses you have earned during practice, and what your popularity on campus is.
Campus Legend required your created student-athlete to balance academics with athletics, and even presented some tantalizing social events. College is certainly fun, but don't party too hard. A low GPA would risk potential suspension from team activities. Ultimately, the fusion of on-the-field and off-the-field activities fashioned Campus Legend mode is the deepest single-player experience in any sports game for its time.
Both in the classroom and on the gridiron if you want to be enshrined in your school's Hall of Fame.
But the game was just as deep on the field as it was off. NCAA 07 represented the culmination of a 6-year foundation of critically acclaimed gameplay and was highlighted by an all-new momentum bar that successfully captured the emotional tide of a college football game.
Nice play there to pick up the first down.
Burton, that was quite an acrobatic catch. They don't get much better than that.
And with expanded playbooks on both sides of the ball, a greater emphasis on trick plays, a new right-stick controlled kicking meter, and increased ESPN integration within the game's presentation, NCAA 07 closed out the greatest chapter in virtual college football history, i.e. Generation 6 platforms, with the greatest individual title in college football history. Number 8. RBI Baseball. Developed by Namco and published by Tengen in 1986, RBI Baseball is widely considered one of the most seminal sports games in history. It was the first game to ever be licensed by the Major League Baseball's Player Association, which permitted the use of actual player names. However, the game wasn't licensed by the MLB itself, and as such, fictional teams categorized by cities were used. Moreover, player likenesses extended beyond the names of the players themselves, such that each character was individualized through player ratings. RBI Baseball signified video game developers' first attempt to create a parameter setting for each player, enabling each virtual player to approximate their real-life abilities on the baseball field. Player ratings allowed for a variability in gameplay that promoted a more dynamic affair, not beholden to the traditionally used generic and homogeneous rosters of the past. Player ratings dictated the amount of movement on pitches, the rate at which pitchers fatigued, and the timing windows by which players could make solid contact. RBI Baseball was absolutely revolutionary for its time. It was simple, it was deep, but most importantly, one could take control of their favorite MLB stars for the very first time. Number 7. NBA Jam. In 1993, developer Midway produced what would become the highest earning arcade title of all time in NBA Jam. The game's creator, Mark Turmel, who later designed hit series NFL Blitz, attributed the title's success to it being the first NBA-licensed, coin-operated game. Though its inclusion of team and player likenesses proved marketable, it was the gameplay that gave NBA Jam its staying power. The exaggerated 2-on-2 basketball gameplay was replete with physics-defying dunks, egregious fouls, and superhuman shooting abilities. But Jam will forever be known for its fiery mechanics. After a player makes 3 consecutive shots, he literally becomes on fire, which grants the user unlimited boost and increased shooting precision. The on fire mode could only be doused if the other team scored. Such over-the-top gameplay, in conjunction with 4-player action, proved to be wildly popular. The arcade coin boxes would consistently need to be refilled each day, and fights would occasionally erupt regarding whose turn it was to play next. Jam's popularity generated over $1 billion in revenue, all of which were in quarters. Though NBA Jam would eventually breed sequels, including a most recent appearance on Generation 7 platforms, any successive title lacked the original's widespread appeal. Number 6. NBA 2K11. The game that was inspired by Michael Jordan, and the game that lived up to his greatness's expectations. NBA 2K11 will long be remembered as the Michael Jordan of basketball video games.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Kevin Harlan with Clark Miller, and we'll hear from yours for courtside later on. It's the Miami Heat taking on the Los Angeles Lakers.
The game introduced numerous features, several of which involved cover athlete Michael Jordan. The Jordan Challenge mode allowed gamers to relive MJ's career through reenacting his greatest moments, including the flu game, the arrival, or the 1991 NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Lakers. Jordan's eponymous mode aptly complemented an assortment of gameplay improvements that elevated Visual Concepts' 2K series firmly above its competition.
And good with the shot, and the whistle blows for the contact and a chance for one more.
An all-new isomotion control scheme delivered the deepest, most authentic, and intuitive dribbling system ever seen in a basketball game, and an enhanced shot stick granted users an unprecedented level of control when choosing from various shot types. But that wasn't all. 2K's single-player mode, titled My Player, was greatly improved via the additions of a personalized NBA draft, sponsorships that granted various benefits to your player, and press conferences that conferred a degree of RPG elements to the franchise.
It's not really a surprise to me that other organizations see the value I can bring to their team. As for how it affects me on the court, it doesn't. Simple as that.
And finally, with an improved commentary engine, along with a broadcast presentation that closely mirrored NBA on TNT, you were left with a near-perfect all-around package, neatly tied with a Michael Jordan bow. And as such, NBA 2K11 will not only be hailed as the best 2K basketball game ever made, but the best sports game of its generation.
The alley-oop.
Join me in part 5 as we count down the final 5 greatest sports games in history. Until then, I'm out.